Hey YouTube, Sean, Griffin RC Planes, and radio controlled bulldozers. Story time by Sean. So, the way I come across things is from swap meets and garage sales and eBay and just who knows what. Well, I came across this Diecast Masters radio controlled dozer, and when I got a hold of it, I realized why I got it so cheap. I literally got this thing for a couple dollars. When I tried to make it go, I could hear click, click, click. So something was damaged in the transmission. So I took it apart and figured out that I had a gear strip in each transmission that drives the tracks. So then it was like, how do I get these gears, right? And I did all kinds of research and I learned all about gears. It's a double-decked plastic gear for a warm drive gear system, and they are a 24 by 12, meaning 12 teeth on the smaller gear and 24 on the bottom. They're double decked with a 2.5 millimeter hole. So then I'm like, where do you buy these gears at? So I looked and looked and looked and looked, and guess what? China sent me some gears. Well, you can't just buy two, so I've got 50. 48 left. If you've got this dozer and your transmission's bad, I'll give anybody a couple gears that wants them. You just send me a message and I'll mail them to you. I started this project before I started YouTube, so this is not a repair video from step by step, but I do have on film reassembling the transmission and getting them back into the dozer. So if you can tear it apart, disassemble, and get it down to each transmission that turns the gears, then this video will help you exactly figure out which gear is bad and how to put it back together. But most likely, these are your problems as well. This is a really cool RC dozer and it's really scale, but it's not to be used out in a sandbox pushing dirt. Maybe some Legos on the carpet or something like that. But I could tell that somebody abused this, and then this was a return. That's where I got this, at a local auction that does like store returns. So somebody bought it, used it, broke it, sent it back, which I hate that. That sucks. Companies getting ripped off. But then I ended up with it and I repaired it. Now I know what gears it takes, and I'll be more than happy to give you a couple gears. You just let me know. Also, I'm giving away this FMS Avanti jet behind me as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, which really shouldn't take any time at all. I'll mail it out to somebody as an appreciation. All the information about it is about 5 videos back. So subscribe, leave me a comment if you need a couple gears, and then you'll be entered to win this jet. But all the info is about 5 videos back.
All right there, guys, and gals, the 2 gears on the left with the blue dot are the old ones. The 2 on the right are the new ones. Let's see if I can get you can see that they're nearly identical. And the part that I filed off the bottom is this raised centerpiece. Maybe it'll focus here. There you go. Right in the center. See, on the left it's a little dirty. On the right it's not. That's what I filed down just a little bit. That's all.
A shot of what we're going to call the transmission that has the bad gear in it. And I've already taken some stuff out of it and taken it apart already, but just to give you guys a shot at it whole, there are 3 screws that clamshell this together. You would take these 3 screws out, Be very careful of these wires when you're separating this case. And you just gently work it back and forth, watching the wires, and remove the case just like that. And inside here will be the gears that we're going to replace. And we're going to show you guys in depth everything here with it. The gear that was the worst. All of these have a little wear on them, but what kept it from moving was this one. This is the one that I found and ordered from China, and it showed up in like 8 days. So I don't know if it really came from China or not. You can't really tell. I'll get some close-ups with my phone. It has a better camera, but the one on the right with this blue dot is the old one. The one on the left is the one I bought. It is nearly identical. It is a hair thinner. And when I say a hair, I don't have anything precise enough to measure it. The only difference that I'm going to take care of is on top right here. No, on the other side, there is a raised up area right in here. This is flat going across on this gear, the bad one. On the replacement one, this center section is raised up a little bit. Like I said, I'll get some close-ups. So I'm going to take a file and file this down, and you can use anything. You can use a fingernail file. Let me grab a file, and we're going to do that. Okay, I have a file. This is just a little hobby file set. Comes with the whole package a bunch. Okay, I have a file. This is just a little hobby file kit called Needle Files. It comes with a selection of them, round and pointy and flat and triangular, square. There's just all kinds of them. Really dirty. I've been using them quite a bit. This is a flat one. These little, oh, look at that name. Imagine that. These little handles slide off, and then you can slide them onto another one, because you can see that they don't come with a handle, but you can slide them on and off. So right here is where it's raised up a little bit, and I just need to file it down a little bit. I'm going to take these little needle nose here and just gently squeeze it to hold it, and then go this way so it doesn't jump out of the needle nose here. And it's not going to take much at all. And this is kind of a feel. I'm wearing my glasses that are magnifying, that you can change the lenses for stronger, so I can see it. Just a little bit. Like so. I'm going to take this one here and kind of clean the filings out of the center. Like I said, unfortunately I can see it a little better than you guys can. Alright, it didn't take much, like I said. Alright, so then we have the transmission housing here. You have the motor. Pay attention how it came out. Take some pictures if you need to. The motor sits down in there, and you can see that when it's all the way down, sitting down low, flush, you can tell by the cutout of the house right there. And then, being that this is the second gear, that's why it wore out. Can you see it making contact right there? You see the teeth of the worm gear that's on the motor meeting this gear, how they're
Now they're biting. I'm going to put the old one on there right now. Can you guys tell the difference? Our new gear is doing this. The old one is about like this. And plastic gears are flimsy on the end of them. So that's why it was click, 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 click. So now the new one makes contact. On the other transmission I'm not filming, even with the new gear, it was still quite a ways away, and I couldn't get this gear. So what I did is I filed the inside of this housing down a little bit to bring the motor closer. And then I took a little piece of plastic, which was actually a Tupperware lid, and I just took a razor blade and cut a little sliver out and just tucked it in right there to push the motor closer to this main gear. Alright, so then there's that gear. This is the next one that goes in. It's a little spring loaded and a bushing right here. And I believe it goes like this. That's how it goes. You can see that's where they meet. It looks kind of sloppy right now because it's going to take the other half to, hold it together. The same with this one too. Until both halves are sandwiching it to hold these axles in place. And they're not quite exactly where they need to be. And then here's the other half of the housing. This gray piece is what the track drive wheel actually grabs a hold of. It slides in there like that, and then the track drive wheel goes on here. We'll see when we get to that step. And hang tight. I just took some rubbing alcohol real quick. I took it back apart real quick because I saw some little couple specks of dirt, sand, or something, and I saw one of my cat hairs in there. So I took some rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip, and I'm just cleaning it up real quick. Rubbing alcohol is good to use because it'll evaporate. Just clean it up a little bit. And then I've got some grease that's used for push rod tubes for RC airplanes. Your linkage rod that goes from the servo to the control surface, whether it be the elevator or rudder or to the steering or up to the throttle. The rod will slide inside of a tube. I've got some grease for that, and I'm going to put some of that grease inside of our Alright, so 2 transmission halves, the motor, gear, and the axle. The drive gear, I don't know the exact technical name they call that. Yoke? No, not the yoke. This is a yoke. I don't know. Output shaft, drive gear, something like that. And then our old gear on the left and the new gear on the right. We filed the one on the right to make them both the same thickness, flushness on the back to one another. So now they got my bearing straight here. The motor goes in. We know it's sitting flush. You can see it. The new gear goes down like so. This next one, let's put a little bit of grease down there. This grease, cable grease, lubricates flex cable, waterproof, made in the USA. So I'm just getting a little bit. You don't want to put a whole lot in here. I mean, this is not bearings that are spinning, real fast like that. But a little grease is good. Put a little bit around this bushing and stuff. There's another cat here. Well, you can't do it. I mean, there's no way you can get rid of all the cat hairs. So now I got a little cat hair also. And this dude goes in there. This other axle goes right here. Put a little bit of grease around that guy. And then we'll just kind of just get some down in here in the gears. It'll all get mixed up when it starts turning. Slide down there. There we go. That's plenty. Plenty. Actually, we can put this one. This guy goes on that axle right there. See the difference in that grease. Just so you guys can see how it all operates. Placed. It turns this gear here that had the bushing on it, and then it turns this drive gear. So, you know, reduction, and I'll think of the exact name of these gears here in a minute. And then we have our top half, and I'll tell you what, let's put a little bit more grease on this, on the big boy. Get some on it. Alright, we'll take that like that. Last Q-tip. Get these cleaned up. Alright, we're going to call that golden. Then, put the wire through the hole in the case. And this is where you got to be careful, because you got to fit it down over the axle, plus you don't want to bend the wires. So just gentle, no force at all, you know. Just let gravity put it back together. And now when the cases are coming together, those three axles that the gears were going through, they're going to be sitting in the other half of this case. One of them's coming through right here. Okay, you can see the grease on the axle shaft. Another one came through right here. Well, that was already down in there. We set the gears on it. And then the main one, and then probably around this area where another one is. So you can kind of feel it when they all get lined up and everybody's in their home. You do not want to force anything right now. And I can see that we're not biting down all the way. And you can see that this one right here is not coming in. So let's take it apart. There we go. This one got stuck up in here. That we want to replace. So kind of get everything to go together like that. Turn this gear a little bit. See if that comes. Yep. Turn them all a little bit. They all just kind of came together. I'm going to do it again. It's real gentle. I'm just barely feather twisting this thing. Now, you can see that it's mated, sealed, sandwiched like it's supposed to be, all the way around. I see the one axle's poking out right here, but it's not coming in deep enough, and I don't like that. There, this one, there it is. This one right here is kind of too much on one side. I don't like that. That was that spring-loaded one, I think. Because if it pushes out, then it's not gonna. Then the gear won't spin on the axle, and then it could be crooked and strip and break. So I want that spring-loaded one so I can see. I push on it here, and I feel the springiness a little bit. Right here. I'm going to pause and okay, so I paused and investigated these axle shafts, and this one here that is not flush with the casing like this one is, that's good. It's sitting in just like it should. There's no chance for the gears to be sloppy in there. That's just how it's designed, and it's plenty of room. So while holding it together, we will get a screw in, and you're screwing into plastic, so there's no need to cinch these things down, super duper tight and take a chance on breaking the plastic. So we're just turning the screw until it stops, and that's it. You can get a feel for how tight you need to go. Once you feel it stop, look at the surfaces, see what you're clamping together with the screw. Right here, look, I can push a little bit and I see the gap closing up. The screw's not all the way tight. And then I'm squeezing it, and I felt the screw stop. That's all you need to go. The transmission's together. Let's get her in the dozer. Alright guys, I know this is a reassemble video, but I'm trying to do the best that I can. When you get to the point to where you are separating the dozer, be careful. The wires will pull tight, okay? But there's enough room to lay the body right next to it. You can unscrew the receiver and the switch if you want, and take the electronics with this and set it to the side. I have done that during this process, but this is where I was first at when I removed the bad transmission. So now it's time to put the transmission back in the dozer. Okay, just to give you another little shot here. It sits in real easily. Just want to be careful of the wires up here. I'm gonna set it in and give you a shot. I've got it set in there without any screws holding it for right now. And then the screws that hold it in are different than all the rest. They've got a big wide base on them. A magnetic screwdriver works really good. Just start them, snug them up in a second. Peek there, right there. Now I'm just going to make sure it's in there, sitting in there flush, all the way down, not crooked, a little snug. No need to cinch these things down like you're mounting a motor to an RC airplane. Just snug, it's plastic. Just like so. You can dry fit your wheel here just to make sure that it's not catching on anything, but they sit down in there real easy. And then the motor wire plugs into the receiver right there. And they've got some hot glue or something on them, but I had to take some I took an X-Acto knife and cut the glue. You see the glue right there in the middle? I cut it to where I can get it out. Just trying to fish it in there. Found it under my paper towels right there. And holding the bottom of the, I guess the servo arm bracket, whatever. This dude is all back together, minus the battery door. Isn't that cool looking? Oh, those things are cool. So, let's see if we can give it a test here. This is not the battery that came with it. This is what I'm using here. magnifying glasses. These things are so cool. All these different lenses, and it's like looking through a magnifying glass when you're wearing them. It's awesome. All right, radio is on. No, that was already turned on. Oh, these buttons here. There we go. Push them both forward, they go. There we go. Oh, they got backup lights for each one. Sweet. Alright guys, in conclusion, if you have one of these Caterpillar dozers, and they are Diecast Masters, and a part number, okay, 25002. If you have one of these and your transmission quit working, since I had to buy 50 of those gears, I'll give you guys a pair of gears. You just pay for the postage somehow. They're probably thin enough we can put in an envelope and 50, 60 cents or something, like a, you know, like a postcard or a big envelope of some sort. But I'll be more than happy to give anybody some gears that wants them. Like that. Sweet. I think that's pretty cool. It is definitely toy grade, that's for sure, and that's why it was broken, is because somebody had it out in the sandbox or whatever. But if you're a Caterpillar guy or just an RC guy, neat to have.
I think that's pretty dang cool. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Click that like and subscribe. And until next time, you'll see me here. Get the sound on, get the blade down. Oh yeah. It looks so neat. It looks realistic. Ha ha.